So I have Dave and Aaron here, and I'm Ginny from DS Tech in the beautiful Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And our topic today
on this
is
beautiful springish day.
Yeah, the sun is shining.
Mid-20s.
Yeah,
The sun is shining. It's exciting.
might get to be 30 today. So
Spring brings new things.
It does.
it does. Does that include your technology? Good segue.
That's a good segue, right? Right into new technology. Do you keep your technology up to date? And we're going to talk about why you should. But before I do, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter so you get all our tips and productivity tips, all kinds of stuff, and news about, phishing attacks and things that you should watch for. So, reasons why. Number one is our favorite topic.
Seems like it always comes around to
security.
Imagine that. One of the big things in our business, and if you have any technology that you own it at all, is how fast it changes. Mm-hmm. And not just like the hardware, but the software too. Windows 7, which seems like it's relatively new, is out of support already. So they're not updating it. Microsoft has dropped support on it, so they're doing some patching at some level, but pretty much it's become a security risk.
Yeah.
Well, the way I kind of see it, Dave and Ginny, is when technology comes out, it is finite. The plastic and the metal and the capability of that chip can only do so much. It's finite.
Right.
But 2 years later, there's a new chip that can do more than that previous chip. And it's the software that you're referring to that these developers, these companies, they add to it. And with that new chip, they can create new, advanced, more robust security, better protection. And that's what the updating is meant to do from a security perspective. So not only are you increasing the level of your software protection over time, but that new hardware platform allows you to continually progress your security or your overall feature set for some of these.
Yeah, your capabilities. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about if you've ever ridden in a 1920 automobile, how they're compared to today.
It wouldn't be safe.
Right. And technology changes faster, like
way faster
IT than most other things. But it's the same principle. Today's cars are much safer.
Yeah. And so is your technology as it grows. Yeah. And why you want to stay secure is number two, keep your data safe.
Protect your data.
Yeah. Which I always turn into, that means protect your money, because the bad guys don't want your data. They want your money. Mm-hmm. So keep your data safe from them. The bad guys from, hacking you and blackmailing you for money. Plus, you're less likely to have a device fail and lose all your data from a hardware failure, natural disaster type thing.
Yep.
So backup.
Yeah, and a point there too is to apply some best practices to your backups. We like to offer a couple of different versions. There's local backups, there's remote backups, there's air-gapped backups where you don't have them connected to the network any longer. So there's a number of things that you can do. In the business too, there's a couple of things you want to kind of consider if you're going to take your backup seriously. Is how long can your business survive if you are in an incident where you have to rely on that backup? How quickly can you get back up and running? Is it going to be 2 hours?
We actually have that
day,
whole topic on our list
a
too.
Week. Yes.
Yep.
So you'll have to ask yourself that question: can your employees come into work and do their job if you don't have your files and data?
Can you sell your widgets, and can you make your widgets?
And then the second big piece is we are heavily reliant on our data, and with backups, that is a finite space. So as much as we could say, hey, infinitely, let's back up everything, we can't. So we'll have to make decisions as far as how large those backups are and how often they're created. Because that's space. There's a physical space there, and that will run out after time, and how soon that rolls off. Those are things you really want to consider.
And keep upgrading your technology, because data grows.
Yep.
Remember when 256 megabytes was giant?
Well,
So,
a great example would be
And that wasn't
photo.
100 years ago either. That
No.
was like,
No, 20.
right?
Yeah, well, like a photo album. I'm old enough to go over to grandma's house and flip through the photo album, and then I think of it in my day, I've got terabytes and terabytes of pictures, digital pictures
You're right.
everywhere, videos, everything.
Yeah, me and Dave
Terabytes.
were looking at this picture. I don't know if any of you remember these.
Yeah.
My dad had one, but no way would that hold the information that we use today.
no.
So number 3 is increased productivity,
Mm.
Yep.
which I can definitely vouch for. When we've upgraded our software,
Mhm.
there's new stuff that,
Faster.
yeah, it's faster because we've upgraded our hardware too to run the new software. And
I had a customer tell us he couldn't wait for his new computer because, or it was her, when she restarted her computer, it took 2 minutes
Yeah.
to boot to Windows to
Oh,
get her
man.
desktop up and ready for her to be productive. So she was ready for a new computer, and she bought one too.
Kind of tying that into the software update, some of these products or these softwares that we use will get a refresh. Their user interface will get a nice update too. That'll help streamline some of the processes that we do. I think of some of the stuff that we do, and when a firmware version comes out and we apply it and load it again, and it looks new and fresh, and maybe they've taken a couple of the multiple steps that we used to do in the past and simplified it into 1 or 2 steps, and it just makes it all that easier. So
Yep.
yeah,
lots
well,
of benefits.
software developers are always
Mhm.
taking your ideas and your recommendations and working on them to make the software work for
Right.
you and
More secure.
increase your productivity.
Plus, how productive would you be if your 7-year-old computer crashed on you completely? No data, no nothing, no access to the
Well,
internet, your work files, etc. You're not going to be very
Yeah.
productive.
Yeah, that happened to me here, and they
Yeah.
already had a remote system ready,
yeah.
so they just plugged in the new system and had me up and running
Yep.
within
Yep.
less than an hour. I mean,
Yep.
it was
Pretty
cool.
Yep.
And it was like, I was joking, I kind of wanted to go home,
Yeah.
but
No such luck. Eh?
no,
You're
we're
working in the
too-
wrong place for that.
we're too fast.
The boss didn't buy it.
Well, and he had new technology, the remote, or I mean the Azure type domain up on the cloud.
It's easy.
Exactly.
I mean, for me as a user, it's easy to just plug it in and go.
Yep.
And it's my workspace.
Which we do offer.
Yeah, it's very cool. Anyway, we got off topic a little bit there, but another big part is staying compliant. Now that word is becoming
A buzzword.
quite the buzzword,
Yep.
because if you're not compliant, you have an insurance agency that won't cover you, right?
Yes.
Potentially, yes. Yep.
Mhm.
If your data gets, so that's a big topic around here, because we help a lot of our customers be compliant with whatever compliance standards. There's all kinds of them.
And hate to go back, sound like a broken record here, but the compliance always comes back to levels of security.
Yeah, like your
Is your data
passwords.
protected? Is it backed up? And it's for
Multi-factor.
as a business, it's for your benefit. They're not trying to burn you down. They're trying to make your, secure. The word was I going to say?
Safe. Keep your friends safe. That's number 5.
Yeah, you touched on this, Aaron, about what was that? The companies that all a large building with multiple.
Oh,
Yeah, coworker. Or,
oh yeah, I wasn't even
Yeah.
thinking of that.
Because if you at some point connect to the same network, all it takes is one unsecure access point, computer, someone's, once they're in your network, it doesn't, they're not the same company as us. But if your networks eventually feed back to a single switch, you're susceptible. It's the
Well, and
weakest
then your
link.
friends are susceptible too, because they're in your contact list and you have all their, their information, and this would,
Very
some of our
much so.
friends are our customers
Yep.
too, so, yeah.
Through no fault of your own, you get,
Well,
you get the
yeah,
hacked or whatever.
I think a good way to kind of talk about this is sort of what a hacker or a penetration test does is once the email link has been clicked or the compromise happens, that hacker or penetration test does not just scan the local computer. It actually just spiderwebs ridiculously out to anything it can see, anything it can touch, anything it can smell. And then it collects as much data as it can from all of those, even including trying to access and get into them. So bringing it back to our point here and protecting your friends, what we would recommend is again, make sure that security is priority in your organization. And there's a number of things you can do to help increase that across the board. First and foremost would be multi-factor, so that your logins are protected and your password protection.
We did a video a while back called Zero Trust.
Yep.
And if you go there, we'll have more information on security.
Right.
Our main goal today is to keep your hardware and software up to date.
Up to date.
So
Yep.
a couple of ways you can keep up with it and things that you can do. Number one is nail down your social media, because that will protect your friends, right? So know how to use your social media, know how to keep your data safe, and know what not to share. And we talked about that in a previous video too.
Yes.
What was it called?
Your digital footprint, that one?
That
Or-
one? Yeah, it's either that one or the one about what to do when somebody's impersonating you on social media. We talked about it there too.
Okay.
So if you hit our YouTube channel, you'll find all these. Number two is outsource your IT. Why? Because we'll keep you up to date, number one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And one of the issues we run into quite often is IT has grown tremendously as far as workload goes day to day for most businesses. And co-managed IT, where a company has an IT professional on
Yep.
staff to handle the day-to-day, year-to-year, month-to-month type stuff, they also bring in a company like DS Tech to co-manage, where we
Yep.
can apply the more advanced backup feature set, the antivirus, the 24/7 security operation control, the phishing, the education. We can augment everything they're currently doing, reinforce everything, and just make that
And then they have a
environment
brain trust.
much healthier. Correct.
Right.
Because we have
Correct.
a lot of,
Yep.
people who have
And-
different expertise and
And if
Yeah.
you don't have someone from IT on staff,
Yep.
we become your IT. We support your IT because you're not an IT professional. We outsource our human resources, our payroll, because that's not what we do.
right.
So
Right.
you're an accountant, you're
Yeah.
a lawyer, you're a doctor. Do you
Mhm.
want to spend time doing, Windows updates? No, you leave that stuff to the people, the pros, I should say.
We also, as an IT provider, right? We
A
help you
trusted
keep
advisor.
Yep.
trusted advisor. We help you keep your software up to date. Is that kind of an automatic thing too, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that goes hand in hand with the keeping your everything current.
Yep.
Is what we're doing is we're helping kind of set the pace, if you will, for this technology in our business environments. So we'll look at things like that example, Microsoft Teams, and start to use that internally considerable to vet it, so that we
When
feel
we-
comfortable to allow to
Yep.
other businesses who are interested in using it to help them use
Support
it.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
much
we
so.
as a company move from platform to
Yeah,
platform.
quite often.
I mean, our owner, Eric, is always looking out
For
for
new technology.
new technology, better,
That's one of the things on our list too of keeping up to date is just keeping up with what's going on out there. A few trends that are happening that we talked about in separate videos. Again, you can find a separate video on each one of these is AI,
Yep.
VR,
Yep.
and we didn't do this one yet, but robotics.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the trending stuff. There's other stuff out there, but if you keep up with it,
And here's some of the other, the trending is, I think we've touched on Internet of Things.
yeah.
you know,
devices.
Getting bigger and bigger and
Yeah,
bigger.
I mean, your garage door opener, your refrigerator, your
Mhm.
thermostat at your work, your, you know,
Your digital footprint
Yeah,
again is
exactly.
getting big.
Yes.
So
And it
Yeah.
follows you around. You know, I can talk to my Alexa just about anywhere I go,
yeah,
and
isn't that
Alexa
crazy?
listens to me. You know,
Sometimes she doesn't know what I'm saying. It's interesting. Or because she comes up with some interesting answers. I'll be like, what are you talking about? Anyway, good stuff.
Yeah,
So I think we've covered all the reasons why to keep your hardware, your software up to date,
It's-
keep your technology.
it's common sense. It's
Yeah.
just like anything else, you know, it's going to be
I
more
know
reliable, faster.
a lot of us, especially us older people, I don't want to call myself old. I'm not old, but change is not always
easy.
welcome, right?
Yeah.
You just want to keep doing things the way you did them. But if you learn and grow with the technology, you'll become more efficient and more productive anyway.
Right.
So
And eventually, you know, that Windows XP machine you don't want to give up is eventually going to fail on you, and
yeah.
the decision will be
Or
made
somebody
for
will
you.
hack it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Well, I think that's a wrap, right?
I do have one kind of
Oh,
small consideration
go for
to
it.
talk about here. So we're talking about software updates and keeping current on various platforms and firmware. And we just kind of finished up with talking about how DS Tech as a company is out in front and learning things and helping to understand things so that we can provide our knowledge to our business partners, and hopefully they can be productive too. So with that being said, I'm going to predict that the majority of what we had just said to our viewers is going to be obsolete in 2 years, because all of it is going to be
Probably.
managed by the cloud, and we're
Yeah.
not going to have to push
Yeah.
firmware
That's
updates
very
or
possible.
do any of it
Yes,
no more.
that's what's
It's
happening.
all going to be an
Yeah.
account on the cloud, and it's going to be managed elsewhere.
You'll actually have less hardware
Mhm.
to manage.
Yep, they're going to make it easier
Yep.
for us to do it. Mhm.
Yeah, that's where it's going. Absolutely.
So-
That's a good point.
Just making a guess.
Yeah. We'll have to come back and watch this. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, get in touch with us if you want us to take a look at your network or whatever. We have a pen test that we offer some of our customers, which is a penetration test, and it shows you where the holes are. And subscribe to our newsletter. All right. We'll see you next week. Thank you.